everyone, and welcome to Guys with Cameras TV. I'm Mike Zahora.
I'm Ed Lau.
And we're going to talk about the news. There's a lot of news this week. So
Is there a lot of news?
There's quite a bit of
lot
news.
of news.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what Profoto has done.
Okay. Now, I don't know a lot about this, so I'm going to need Mike to educate me as well.
So basically, what this is, it's the equivalent to a speed light, like the camera-mounted flash that you've got.
Right.
Works. Works with TTL. Right. You've got a unit that you put on the camera. Let's put the picture of the unit up there. Right. So that goes on top of your camera.
So this is a wireless transmitter.
That's a wireless
that goes into the hot shoe.
Into the hot shoe, and it's got a 100-meter range. But the cool part about the lights is now the stats are kind of insane. Well, first off, each light's going to be $2,000.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot more than my speed lights.
But for a studio guy or a on-location
yeah.
commercial photographer,
I imagine nobody's going to be buying this that doesn't use it for work.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And the little Air Remote TTL unit, which is available for Canon right now, a Nikon version is coming, and that's going to be $400. Okay, but here's...
Oh, I thought that was included when you told me about it.
No, you got to buy the unit.
What? That's
okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's for work, I mean, for $400.
Yeah. It's got 500 watts of power, so that's basically 10 times the power of a single speed light.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'd expect most strobes like that to be quite a bit more powerful.
Super powerful. There's videos all over Profoto's website of a guy who actually used the strobes in a quarry in Italy to photograph
bikers
doing weird things, and it actually
doing weird things.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, so that's the Profoto.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't think you think we'll get one of these in?
To try out?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like something that we usually use.
If we're going to do a studio shoot, yeah, it'd be nice to have
it's hella cool, but I don't know how many of our viewers would actually buy one of these.
Well, if you're a pro, then we have pro viewers. We'll just say that.
That's true.
Okay, next one.
What's up next? And back to that. Oh, and this again.
And this again. So this is 3 weeks in a row now for Nikon about this camera.
Right. We're not talking about the DF anymore unless we actually get one in from now on, okay?
That's the deal. So, it's got the guts of a, D4. It's $2,750 for the body, retro styling, blah, blah, blah.
You mentioned that $2,750 is a lot, but I mean, how much did the D4 cost when it came out? I think it was way more than a...
But the D4 also has the video.
Yeah.
Right? It also is a professional grade. Everything is sealed.
I think this is weather sealed. I'm pretty sure that's weather sealed. I mean, why would they make it?
But here's the interesting thing.
Not weather sealed when it's that expensive.
This being a brand new camera, it hasn't even made the top 20 DSLR list on Amazon.
Yeah.
Right. It's apparently not selling super well.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I think it is? I think it's too compromised. Because they keep saying pure photography. I think this is still, it's basically a D4 in a old skin that has video disabled, right? I mean, it's not enough. I think it's not.
I don't think so. I think if they made this camera with a sensor like the D800 or the the D610,
right?
Well, you'd have a full frame sensor, right? And it would really cater to the guy who really wants a camera like this. Somebody who's got a lot of money, who's not really a pro, but just wants a really good camera.
Right.
And it would probably
be cheaper.
It would be cheaper too. And then it would compete with the Sony's.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just not. It's not one way or the other. It's not modern enough, and it's not old school enough to appeal to the target market. I mean, we had some comments on our YouTube channel this week that said something along the lines of, "I don't want video on my camera," but basically we know that it's just firmware. It's just turned off.
Well, it's basically turned off, and again, it's also a functionality thing, right?
Yeah. So I mean, when you have
in the thing, then it gets a little weird.
When you're missing that function and you're charging a lot of money anyway. I mean, if they're going to go this direction, they should have gone further with it, made it a lot more mechanical, more classic looking too. I think it's too tall. I think it's too tall.
The price.
Yeah. I think that it needs to be in the $1,500 range for it to sell. Something that looks like this.
But the interesting thing is, this camera hasn't even made the top 20 DSLR list on Amazon. And Nikon just announced, cuts in its sales forecasts for high-end cameras. So what does that mean to the high-end camera market right now?
I don't know. I mean, I think that they said that DSLR sales are going down in general. So I think that in the next few years we might see a completely different kind of market. I think that we're not going to have DSLRs. We might not even have mirrorless cameras. They might just be a mix of both, or something in between.
I sort of, I'm looking towards like, the Fujifilms, the X-Trans sensor cameras, that. I remember the good old days when Nikon and Fuji were sort of combined, and Fuji created an SLR with a Nikon mount, with their old old cross pattern sensor or whatever. Can you imagine if Nikon had a full frame with the new X-Trans sensor in it?
Yeah,
that would be the hottest selling camera.
Yeah, I imagine so, because I think the only knock on the Fujis right now is that they're not pro-bodied enough. They're still very rangefinder looking, and they're not solid enough for. I think the X Pro 1 is probably in that range, but I mean, when you look at an XC1 or an XC2 that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I mean, it doesn't seem like a workhorse camera.
No.
Whereas a lot of these Nikons look like, or not look like, but feel like
are designed to operate
in that way. So
yeah. So I mean, that's that. Now, again, some more news. Tamron, they announced the 150 to 600 millimeter f5 to 6.3 zoom lens. No price, no availability yet. That's a honking big
That is a huge lens. I believe this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the largest and biggest range on a zoom ever.
That I don't know.
I don't think there's ever been 150 to 600 mil on anything else.
Yeah.
And I think the closest you're going to get is probably something like a 100 to 400.
Something like that, yeah. But I mean, that is going to be huge.
Do we know how much that is?
They don't know. There's no price, no availability date. Okay. Tamron just said, we're making it.
I think it's great, because I think Tamron's, just by looking at that looks better than a lot of the Tamron lenses that I've seen in the past.
Yeah. That
kind of are like a little bit plasticky. You get the feeling that the build quality is not as, like, the build quality is perfectly fine, but it just doesn't feel the same as Yeah, but I think that with Sigma, like, stepping up and bringing a lot of, like, premium quality lenses in, like with the 35-1.4 and the 18-35, I think those are fantastic lenses. I think Tamron saw that and said, we got to step it up, or else we're going to get pushed out of the third-party game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the Tamron.
That's a fantastic-looking lens. And would you shoot with anything that long, though? I don't think I do anything that needs anything.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I could, maybe if you're, you want to take pictures of your neighbor across the street or something like that.
Well, okay.
Well, whatever.
If you're in rear window, then yeah, you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's go to the next thing. So, this has been around for, I think, just about over a year, the C100 from Canon.
This is their entry level, I guess, cinema camera.
Exactly.
It's the cheapest of the cinema cameras.
Almost $6,000.
Still $6,000, yeah. But one of the upgrades that they have for this now is that they can add the dual pixel AF that we looked at on the Canon 70D a couple
so
weeks
now
ago.
you did the review on that.
I did.
And you said
I think it's fantastic. It works so well. I expected it to be crap, like I honestly did. Like whenever I looked at autofocus systems for video on other cameras, it doesn't feel natural, but on the 70D it looked fantastic. So I think with this being on a cinema camera, we might see autofocus being utilized more in in Hollywood, I guess. So
they were really saying that these would be more for like the documentary person, or the guerrilla style, run and gun kind of stuff.
It's still a huge camera. Like that thing is still heavy.
Big,
run and gun. I mean,
that's kind of what they're aiming it at, right? But the upgrade's going to cost $500. But here's the thing: you gotta send the unit in to have it changed over, and I don't know how long that's going to take.
Yeah, it takes.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, Canon is actually taking some cues from Nikon and sort of doing some sort of pre-announcement, teaser, whatever you want to call it.
So we're told that this says white
world.
White world. So what is it?
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. But it's coming in November.
Well, it is already November.
So by the end of the month, we should know what it is.
I hope they don't announce it between now and Tuesday.
Which has happened to us already.
Super embarrassing every time. But just looking at that, I think there was a boosted contrast picture on the internet.
They lowered it, and you can see like a big,
and you can see the lens right here, and you can sort of see the outline of the lens right here. So I imagine that this is a relatively small body. When I first saw that, I thought it would be Canon announcing their entry into medium format, which has been rumored for a while now.
Yeah.
But now that I look at it, and I'm like, man, that's not big enough to be a medium format camera. That's some kind of tiny DSLR. So.
Yeah, but it could be like this thick behind it.
Yeah, that's going to be a great form factor. Exactly. You're going to do this in front of your head. Yeah, but I think what I'm scared about is that in Asia, they love their white-bodied cameras, and there's no white DSLR, so I imagine they're going to take like an SL1 and just make it white, which would be stupid and really disappointing. But yeah,
well, I mean, for that market, it wouldn't be.
Well, okay, sure, fine.
North America, maybe.
But does just having a color on your camera that doesn't warrant an announcement like this?
A couple years ago, when Pentax did that multicolored Pentax,
I think it's like 100 some odd colors. It was just
I know,
ridiculous.
just different combinations. You can get like 14 billion different color combinations.
Yeah. So yeah, when do you think we'll probably see this? I think mid-month or so.
Again, it's November.
It could be anything. What do you think it is?
Stay tuned.
7D, new Rebel. New 7D, I guess.
Well, I think the 7D is probably the oldest camera that they've got kicking around right now.
It is, yeah.
So, yeah,
but I didn't think. I think they're doing a 7D in the new year, like the announcement and release in the new year. So I don't.
Who knows?
It's also too small to be a 7D. So.
Well, again, it's hard to tell by the picture too.
Maybe it's just a crappy Photoshop.
It could be. Yeah, exactly. It could be some guy who took something this big and made it.
Yeah.
So.
Amazing. So Canon, let us know.
Yep,
please don't make a white version of a DSLR and just
Well, we're gonna find out soon enough. So that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's another week in the news.
Another week in the news. This is Guys with Cameras TV. I'm Mike Zahora. You can find me on Twitter at Michael Zahora.
I'm Ed Lau. You can find me on Twitter at Ed Lau.
And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.